Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. How's it going, Oak? How do you like to be known? Because sometimes I'm looking at the name, I guess I'm butchering myself. So, how do you pronounce your name?
My name is Okieriete Onaodowan, but everybody calls me Ook. I like both. If you could say the first one, yes. If not, a wonderful alternative.
Oak it is. Oak it is.
How
We
are you,
finally
Will?
got this show off the ground. It's been a journey,
Yeah.
but it's coming here. So, congrats on this. How did it come about for you?
Just a good old-fashioned way. Just had an audition. I resonated with the material, and I sent it in. They dug it. They dug my work. They dug what I was doing. They reached out to me. We had a couple conversations, and I was just very excited that they decided to pull the trigger on me and say, "Let's go. Let's make this thing happen."
Mhm. How best would you describe your character? It's a sci-fi comedy. We don't see that often. How does it work?
I would best describe him as it's a bit of a coming of age, but more of a coming of adult story. Kind of like a moment when you realize growing up is going to take a lot of legwork and it's harder than you think. And I would think he's a man in growing pains, and really trying to make the best out of who he is and figure out who he is. So I say he's an optimistic dude that's kind of drowning.
I've seen you work on stage, on other places you've done before, but this one, there's a lot of layers to what you're playing. How do you relate to this character?
I relate to him very much so. I feel like everybody at some point when they are in that coming of age, coming of adult point in their lives, there's a moment where they realize who they thought they were and maybe who they're perceived to be, maybe at odds. And a lot of people kind of struggle with that and to figure out which version is you. Is it the version you hold true to yourself or the version that everyone's telling you that you are? And that's what really resonated with me with Damascus, and him really wanting to do something about it. A lot of people throw their hands up and say, well, I'll let it sort it out. But he is determined to get to the bottom of this in this crazy genre bending sci-fi psychological adventure. Yeah.
They label it a comedy, and when people say he's a comedian, does he have any funny bones? Credit to the writers, to add those moments in there. But do you see yourself having funny bones?
Yeah. I have all the bones. I have every bone that there is. Everyone remember that. Put me in everything, hire me in everything. But really, yeah. My background, I've done a lot of comedy on stage. I had a lot of comedic moments on stage, and in film and in TV, I try to infuse that. I think the beauty of life is there's humor and drama, and they're side by side, and sometimes they're seconds apart. And I think when you can capture that in the piece, that's when you can really capture the truth of life, and people really resonate with that. So it's like a genre bending sci-fi dramedy.
hmm You're working along some notable names. Obviously, I spoke to Shakira yesterday, and you've got Caleb, but you also have the legendary, Janet and Martin Lawrence. So
Yeah.
what was it like working opposite those individuals?
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was an honor to work opposite both of them, having grown up knowing them, watching them, admiring their work. It's always amazing when you can work with an OG. It's a remarkable experience. I just sat down, listened, and absorbed. But whatever they said, followed their lead. They gave me a lot of grace. They played with me. I tried to keep up. Y'all let me know how I did. But it was a wonderful experience to have to be able to bring this to life with some legends.
Tubi is not known for series. They're known for their films, good or bad. At the end of the day, this is a series. But we're here during the summertime. We still have movies out in theaters. You got other shows coming out on other streaming services. What's going to get an audience to check out this?
I think what's going to get it to check it out, it really is a sci-fi dramedy focusing on a man who's really trying to find himself in a way that we haven't seen in, let's say, specifically Black men. I think it's an important and amazing message for everyone to say, if you're really struggling, like, do something different. If you want to see a change in your life, you really have to like do something different. And sometimes that means stepping way outside the box. And in Damascus's world, it's stepping into different versions of themselves. And I think a lot of people really would love that. Most people at certain points would be like, man, I wonder what my life would have been like if. And I think that's a question that's always going to be in the minds of people, which is why I think the show will always resonate and will resonate so much right now. I think it's crazy times, and people are really wondering that more than ever. It's like, man, I wonder if life was just a little bit different.
What does this mean for you? You know, as an actor, obviously, we're celebrating 10 years since Hamilton, and where
Mhm.
you played a pivotal role on there, but now a bigger audience can see you on this one for those who can't be in New York to see that. But to go from Hamilton there, and all of you guys gone on to have successful careers to leading this show, what does this mean for you?
It's just another way to see and view me in what I do, which is, I think, a dream for any actor. I like to play multiple roles, different characters. I like to be at the forefront of things, groundbreaking things, pivotal things, new takes on genres, which is what Hamilton did. And I think that this is what this show is doing. So I'm very honored to have another show being thrown into that category in my repertoire of another piece of art that's kind of changed the way you look at things and hopefully entertain you while you're on the ride.
Are you in New York right
I'm
now?
yeah.
You know, so yeah, you're gonna be on. You're gonna be. I guess tonight's tonight, right?
Yeah, I have a full week. So
Yeah,
tonight's 10th anniversary
tonight's
of
tonight. You know,
Hamilton. They
10
announced that
years.
it's going to be
Yeah,
re-released in theaters. Hamilton will be re-released in theaters. They just announced that in September, and then tomorrow it debuts on Tubi, Damascus, August 7th.
that's right. You know, and I, funny enough, I actually have my ticket because I saw the show on August 5th
Yeah,
in 2015, the day before its opening.
yeah,
The day
yeah,
before it's opening. So, like, hey, this is a good year for you. Obviously, this one and Damascus, you never
yeah.
know when the timing is going to be right. At the end of the day, what did you learn from it? Actually, I'm going to rephrase that question. Should this show be successful because you shot it a while back? Is the cast prepared if Tubi decides they want to do a second season?
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of like a secret blessing to have some time pass between the two shows. Everyone has grown a little bit. And it's a fun opportunity to kind of like weave in different ideas and thoughts that we had that we don't have to necessarily have pressure to put in right away and to show the growth. How has he grown? How has everyone grown? Everyone loves the flash forward to check in. And it gives us an opportunity then to go back and let everybody know what happened in that time that passed. But I think everybody is down. We had such a great time. Nothing but professional, solid, talented people on that set, giving their all every single day, which is what it should be. And I think it'll come through on film.
Besides tonight and this show, is there anything else you got coming up?
I'm actually going to be doing a play called The Monsters, co-production between Two Rivers and MTC. I'm playing an MMA fighter who's estranged from his sister. So if you want to catch me back on stage, you can see me at Two Rivers Theater in New Jersey in the fall and in the spring at MTC in New York.
So you working to get that body in shape? You talk about M&A fighter. It was like we meet to see, like, is he an M&A fighter or is he pretending to be an M&A fighter?
I'm not working. This body is in shape. I keep it tight. I keep it tight every day. And yes, I'm also working on getting that body tight, getting my gas back. It's going to be very physical, very demanding. So yeah, but I'm going to give it all like I always do on stage. And yeah, I hope it resonates and inspires you to like, hug your family members, hug your family a little tighter, talk to a sibling you ain't talked to in a bit. But it's a beautiful piece.
Congrats on all that's happening. We are good to go. Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Nice to see
Yes. It's been a journey for the series,
you. Yes.
but we're finally here. So talk to me about, how you got the role and how can you best describe your character you're playing?
Oh, I mean, this series is a dream come true. My role, I got an audition through my agent and the normal way that actors do. And I remember I did it on Zoom. I thought it was a fantastic read. And I was like, I feel so connected to this character. And oddly enough, I went on a hike with a friend and about 2 weeks after I had taped, and she was like, I just read for this thing, but I think you would be so much better at this role. Have you read for it? And I was like, I did, and I had a great tape, but I haven't heard anything. And then literally like the next day, they're like, hey, you have a callback. So I think all of the characters in Damascus are so well written, and it's a blend of comedy and sci-fi. And in the character breakdown for my character, it said she's a walking contradiction. And I just love that. I love that she's a flawed human. She really embraces the dark feminine energy. One of my character's colors was red. So even if I'm not wearing red in the outfit, there's one episode where I even just had a red Bible and everything else was, so it was so thought out down to character's essence and colors. And I don't know, I just really, I love being her. in all forms.
It's funny how you said that, like, somebody was also trying out for the role. Is it that's more of the world that everybody's trying out for the same role?
I mean, yeah, in this, yes. In
You
this
know.
climate, yes.
And then obviously, there's that, you're working, with the lead. I'm always pronouncing his name wrong. So like you tell me, how do you say his
Ooh.
name?
I just say Oak. On
Okay, okay.
Onaodowan is how I believe you say Oak's last name, but also we shot this almost 3 years ago, so
It's like, okay.
I haven't
So
said it out loud in a little while, so I'm happy you called me out. I gotta practice it, but I'm pretty sure it's Onaodowan.
so with Oak, what did you guys do to establish chemistry so that we the audience see that there's something there?
Mm. So off top, Oak was such a team player, and love that he ends up being a titular character because you need someone who's down to play even when we're off the clock. I remember we got together. We shot in Atlanta, so we went to the Beltline and we worked on scenes when we were had our days off, and he was working just about every day. So it was nice to just be able to have a day where we were able to practice and just kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. And I think in the moment, once you get into these costumes and this hair and you're just fully in this character, you can't help but lean in and embrace it. But the first day I shot, I had to do a dance number. So when I met Oak, I immediately was like, "Hey, I'm about to do that dance that was in the script."
How
Yeah.
good of a dancer are you?
I used to dance when I was in high school and at acting school. I went to AMDA, American Musical Dramatic Academy. I had to take dance classes as well. So I will say, I mean, Janet Hubert is in the project. So, I'm incomparable in that arena. And then also, Sasha Hutchings is also in it, and she was in Hamilton as a dancer. So I'm not a professional dancer at their level, but I kept up. I did my thing.
So you just mentioned Janet. Obviously, we've seen that clip when she's dancing, for
Mhm.
the Bel Air, and obviously, like you just mentioned, Sasha was, a part of Hamilton. So was Oak. So like, not that everybody has scenes together, but at what point did everybody get together to just talk? Is it through the read through? Is it like, are there going to be a premiere? Did you guys all get to, like, what is it you guys did to get to know each other?
So we've all had different moments, different little windows where we got to know each other. I feel like episode 6, a lot of us were there just because we were all in episode 6 for the most part. So a lot of us hung out. But then there was other times I think Sasha wasn't in episode 6. So Sasha, Oak, and Caleb and I would hang out. And when we went to South by Southwest after we weren't moving forward with AMC anymore, uh, we went to South by Southwest and a bunch of us went, including, like some of the editors and I think some of the writers were there and Tearrance was there, the creator and showrunner of Damascus, along with Mikey, executive producer. So we all just like I mean, South by Southwest was such a fun time and it gave us a glimmer of hope, like, okay, someone's gonna grab this show and we're gonna get to do this again. But Janet was there as well, and she's hilarious. Yeah, she's just a
Yeah.
fun human.
Listen, it's never in your control as far as the show and the politics and all that stuff is
Mhm.
involved. Listen, you did the project, you keep it moving. If they picked it up, which they have, which is great, now you can talk about it. For those, we're in the summertime. There's movies out. There's new shows, including also coming out. What's going to get an audience to watch this on Tubi? Besides the fact that you're in it and a couple other names that we're familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, outside of the fact that Martin Lawrence is in it, Janet Hubert and Lynn Whitfield, which Martin Lawrence and Lynn Whitfield have their reunion since a thin line, their first reunion since a thin line between love and hate, which I think is just so cool. It's a great show. It's an easy show to just turn on and go ham on. You haven't seen anything like it. It's irreverent, it's genre bending, it's hilarious at moments, very genuine and real at other moments. And I think too, just like getting into the psyche of being a human, although it's about Damascus, a 33-year-old Black man trying to navigate the world, it's really about all of us trying to navigate the world and seeing it through different lens. And especially with how prevalent technology is right now, and AI, I feel like it's in every other conversation. We use it in this show. We don't actually use AI, but we use technology in this show as a means to grow your mental health, to evolve, to see the world in a different way. So we use it in a very fun and connective way, and versus the disconnect that people feel from it.
Mhm. And before I let you go, what gets you to say yes to the projects you take? Is
Oh,
it the role, the people you're working with, the location, or the time frame? Because sometimes you can get a good role, but the timing's not right.
yes. I mean, really all of it. It depends. Like if there was yeah, I had another job this summer that I shot this and timing didn't work out. I mean, it was a much smaller role, so I was like, obviously I'm doing this and I care so much about this show. But I love to shoot in a different country, so fly me out. I love to shoot roles and knowing projects that I'm just excited about that explore worlds that we haven't seen. So that was one of the main reasons I've just been so excited for Damascus to come out and for y'all to see it and to be a part of it.
Hey, we'll talk about it. Like you said, it's a good script. People like the way it plays out. At least I certainly did. Thankfully somebody like Tubi picked it up, so now we can see it. You hate to see a show that gets shot and then nobody's gonna pick it up. So
I
that
know.
rarely happens. So like, luckily somebody believed in it and it's gonna be seen, and we can
Mhm.
talk about it. And hopefully, maybe there's something maybe a season two of it can be greenlit.
I
Who
know.
knows?
I
You
know. I
know.
would love a season two. I think we're going to surprise folks. I think it's going to be a word of mouth type of show. People are going to watch it and really enjoy it and talk about it with their friends. And that's always the goal, that people genuinely like it. And that's how we get more eyes on it.
Congrats on your role. Congrats on the series. We'll talk down the road. We're here to
Yeah.
support. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Take
Pleasure.
care. All
Thank
right.
you.
Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, Wilson. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you back again on screen, whether it be on small screen or the big screen. How did this role come about for you?
Well, this role was an offer, which I really, really love. I only do offers right now. At this junction in my life, I'm at the age where I can now pick and choose because I'm old, I'm bold, and I can't be controlled. So the role came to me in an offer through my agents, and it came on April Fool's Day, which was one of those things where I kept saying, "Is this real?" And the letter was so wonderful and kind and warm that how could I say no? Especially given the producer's credits, the playwrights credits, and I love playwrights. I love the theater because I come from the theater. So
Mhm.
knowing that Tearrance was a playwright was an extra special yes for me, because in the theater there's a difference. They have to fill the stage. You can sit in the theater, you can watch whoever you want to watch. There's not a little camera going like that and pinpointing. And he writes like that. He writes in a total, as opposed to joke, joke, line, line, laugh, laugh. So there was
Mhm.
no question for me. It was a definite yes.
How much stock do you take into the characters you play? Like, do you do your research? It's not just what's on the script, but so that way you have an idea as to what these people do.
At this junction in my life, when I read a script and it's got something that I cannot identify with, of course you go and you do some research. But my job as an actress is to take the playwright's words or the writer's words and make them sing. It's not to feel comfortable in the role. And if it doesn't ring true to me, or if it doesn't ring real to me, then the beauty of that is being able to discuss with the writers, the producers, the directors of something that doesn't feel comfortable. But every role is never going to feel comfortable. This role I loved because I have to be contained. Dr. Bonneville is very contained, but then she comes out with zingers. That, that's kind of me, really, in real life, but she's much more contained than I probably am in real life. So no, depends on the role.
Obviously you've been around long enough, as you mentioned, where things happen and it's never in your control. And then obviously with this show and the production had already been shot, obviously it was a disappointing initially when AMC decided not to go forward with it, having put in all the work. But luckily, fate has it. Tubi came in, stepped up, and we're
Yeah,
here now, which is
yeah,
great. Hey, things
yeah,
happen for a reason. You're in this
yeah,
game. At some
yeah.
at some point, things happen for a reason.
They do.
Um, Having said that, in the time you shot this, you know, how did you get along your castmates? You don't have scenes with everybody, but you're an Oak. Most of your scenes
We
are
call
with
them Oak.
him. You know,
Yes.
how was that chemistry like?
Oh, the chemistry was magnificent. The cast was magnificent. Just even when we would shoot our scenes, we would shoot my scenes, but everybody else would be there. These folks are from the theater. They're from the theater, a lot of them. Sasha, Shakira, they're from the theater. They're from New York, and Oak is from the theater. So there is, and Tearrance is from the theater. He is a playwright. So there was a chemistry that was already there. There was a respect that was already there. There was a love that was already there. We had a great time on set. We really did. The crew, down to wardrobe, down to hair, down to makeup. It was so good because the content we were all so excited about, something that people have never seen before.
Mhm.
Damascus is like something we have never seen before.
Piggybacking on that sort of answer, obviously as it comes out, that's actually it's already out, but you're competing with what's in the theater. I mean, what's in playing on screen during the summer. You're also competing with other shows playing on streaming services. There's a battle for everybody's attention, specifically during the summer. What's going to get an audience to see Damascus, especially on Tubi, because awfully it's a series. Most people go to Tubi for movies.
I think the project speaks for itself. A Black man trying to find himself in the year 2025. It's the same as a Black man trying to find himself in the year 2019. It's very different from 1950s, but it's still some of the same issues, some of the same problems. Black men don't go to therapy. We do, but they do go to therapy. There is a misconception that we don't understand this kind of content. We don't understand the technology that was it. And I love the way they played the technology of the future, all of this high tech sci-fi. I think it's a winner. You can't get past, these kids love technology, but they also know that we're in a crisis right now. They're trying to wipe away our history. They're trying to wipe away our stories. They're trying to wipe us out.
Yeah.
But we're here always. You can take away all of those things, but you can't take away what really happened. And
Mhm.
the internet is wonderful right now for a story like this. So, and mental health in this country is at an all-time low with the current administration of what Black people are going through, what Spanish people are going through. I think it's very necessary, and I think it happened at exactly the time that it was supposed to, on exactly the network that it should have,
Mhm.
because people don't have the money to constantly go and keep paying for all these streaming platforms.
It's a
I
lot.
mean, I myself, I'm tired of it. I'm like, listen, Hulu, come on now. How much money do y'all want from us? Can't nobody keep
And
paying for all these platforms. So
if you don't live it, if you live, it's like being in LA. You don't want to take your car out, but you say, okay, I'll get an Uber, but $15 here, $22 there. They start adding up.
hello, we're not all one percenters. And as we can see with what's happening in the world, you know, Damascus is right on time with the right network. And AMC is still there, still connected to it, still owns it. And they helped send us down to South by Southwest. We were named the best two shows out of it was us and Swarm. So when it was cut, yes, it was a huge disappointment because this is my first series that I've accepted in 35 years now. So for me, it's right on time because this is it. I'm done. I'm done. If they go back into series, this is it. This is all I want to do, and
So
I'm
you're
done.
prepared. You shot it a long time ago, but if the word is out and it gets the attention it needs, and they come
Oh,
back and
we're
says we
ready.
want to do a season two, you're ready for it?
We are all ready. We are on together on these posts that Tubi's allowed us to be a part of the social media. And it's so much fun to go and comment to someone who thinks, oh, she would never say that. And you say it. They'll say, well, Martin Lawrence is really sick. I can't believe he's got a colostomy bag. And I'm like, Oak goes, it's acting, people. It's called acting. not really sick. He doesn't really have a colostomy bag. That's when you know your work is good.
Mhm.
So it's
You men-
wonderful to collaborate with everybody together online.
you mentioned earlier before I let you go that you take offers now. What sort of offers do you want? What is it that makes you want to say yes to projects?
It depends on the project. It depends on the role. I want to be challenged. I need a challenge. I've played everybody's, mother and things like that, but I want a challenge. I wanted to do Sweet Magnolias because I am such a fan of Sweet Magnolias and Heather Headley. Playing Heather Headley, I saw her in Aida. She made me walk into the wall, honey. And I said, of course, I will play Heather's mother. It's those kinds of roles, or roles like Remember Me, the Mahalia Jackson story, where I got to play this 19th century namesake for Mahalia Jackson. Yes, she was brutal. I love roles that challenge my age, my gender, my everything, my body. Make me want to spit these words out. Make me want to say these words. Make me want to sing these lines. I don't do theater anymore because I cannot get through 8 shows a week, honey.
It's like riding a bike, girl.
No,
Get
no,
back
no,
on it.
no,
You just
no,
gotta
no,
be.
no, no,
Hey,
no.
if Denzel could do it last year or this year with
If
Othello,
Denzel did not dance on his head, okay? Denzel did not dance in 6-inch pumps and do jetés. I cannot do that anymore. Somebody said it's a wheelchair role, Miss Hubert. Well, look, I'm 5 months to 70 years old. I want to go to bed when I want to go to bed. Okay? I don't want to get them to go to the theater at 5 o'clock because I've done it. I've done it.
I thought I was done, but I gotta ask this one last question. What do you make when everybody keeps repeating and obviously showing that video of you from the Fresh Prince in your dance sequence? It-
I
Everything
love it.
old is new again. People are
I love
discovering
it.
every time they see these old clips.
I love it. I recently have done some Comic Cons, and it's really funny because they will come to me and start doing the step, and I'll start doing the step with them, and they'll say, "Well, can you do that?" It's an honor. It means that I did something so profound that 35 years later, they're still trying to match it. And I put out a challenge on Instagram on my 70th birthday, which will be January 13th. Meet me in Manhattan at a dance studio. We're gonna have a dance off. Not me, but all y'all want to do it, let's do it. And I'll pick the winner.
You see? And that's how we should end. Congratulations on your role.
Thank
Congrats on a
you.
series. Let's hope we can get a season two. We want to see more of you, so let's
Thank
make it happen. We're here to support wherever
Thank
you're
you.
at. Have a great day. Take care of
Thank you,
yourself.
Wilson. You as
Again,
well.
thank you.
Okay. Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. Here we are. The wait is finally over. How's it going?
Good. It's going good. How are you?
Good. That's been a journey, so
Mhm.
obviously, but you guys, prevailed. The white whale was caught. You found a home at Tubi.
Uh-huh.
So talk to me, like, how did this come about and just putting the show together and then, going through this journey and, and keep fighting to get it up so that audiences can finally see this.
Yeah. So it started as a play. I'm a playwright as well. I was at Juilliard at the time, and I had a play coming up that I needed to write for class. I didn't have an idea, so I wrote down like this exact argument I was having with my fiance at the time. And I put some of our friends and other characters in it, and I wrote this like sweet little one-act play. Then I took into class, and it was received well. It even had a little production in St. Louis at one point, but but I was kind of done with that. I had like written this singular story, and it felt complete. But I was really in love with the characters because they were me and my wife and our friends. And so I started to sort of imagine a world where I can put these characters in different scenarios. And it was also kind of inspired by, at the time I was a playwright. I was a working playwright, so I was like traveling across the U.S. I was in L.A., I was in Washington State, I was in Chicago, it was just all over the place. And I felt like I was a different version of myself each time I landed on the tarmac, I guess. So like in LA, I would be hanging out with millionaires, and then I fly back to Baltimore and have to, hang out with my homeless relatives sometimes. And so like it was like these different worlds, and I was connecting everywhere. And I felt like, oh, this is kind of cool because I feel like I'm changing. And I've never seen any, like most times we see in narratives when they're about code switching or that it's like oppressive. And I wanted to like write something where it didn't feel like it was oppressive, where it was actually like a superpower to kind of do this. And so that's where the initial sort of conceit for Damascus came from, this kind of reality hopping person who gets to be these different versions of himself. Um, and so I wrote the pilot. I was at the time I was also sort of transitioning from playwriting into TV and film, and so it was my first pilot that I wrote to kind of as my sample to send out and get meetings. And it eventually got into the hands of Grand Via, and they were really excited about the project and decided to really advocate for it, and move forward with it. And so they took it to AMC. AMC greenlit it. I got a room, 6 writers. We got together and we wrote these 6 great episodes. We filmed it, produced it, edited it, sci-fied it, special effects it, and then it was cut by AMC. And so, so that was a process. Like when that happened, it was, very personal. It felt kind of personal, and I kind of grieved that. I talked through it in therapy. I did all the things, and I came to a resolution about it. And then all of a sudden it was back. And so like now it's like everything sort of feels like bonus for it to be getting a second life, and with Tubi and people finally getting to see it. So that's where I'm just like really excited about let's like
Hey, timing
coming
is
out of the
everything. You never know
shadows.
when things are going to happen, but it's
Uh-huh.
happening. Oak is your lead. Not many people are familiar with him if you don't live in New York. He's one of the stars of the original Hamilton.
Uh-huh.
He's been on Station 19. What led you to cast him as your lead?
I think there was I was looking for a specific type of person. I wanted a person who kind of presented like myself, a bigger black man. Like you don't see many, you don't see in TV and film. And so I was trying to kind of channel myself. He's a much more handsome version of me, I think. But he just had a real openness and humility to him. And I'm also like, again, I'm from theater. And so I really appreciate actors. And he presented himself as like this really like coachable, um, ranging, very open type of actor, who one that I could kind of collaborate with and build with. So yeah, he was a great casting. He came in pretty well.
Well, anything on television has a way of bringing in new talent, which is great because we're now discovering them, even though they've probably been seen maybe in a film, maybe on stage. But then
Uh-huh.
you also have legends like Martin Lawrence in the show. It's not that often you see him in a recurring or supporting role, so
Uh-huh.
it's good to see him back, and Lynn Whitfield, so talk about bringing back that collaboration.
Well, yeah, it was sort of led like I'd never dreamed of having Martin in the show. Like it was just I mean, when he came up in cast, and I was like, that would be great. Why would he do this? But sure. And so we sent him the script, and his team, they read it and they got it to him. And he just sort of really appreciated the script on the page. I think he really resonated with it. And I think he wanted to help us out. He saw us like it's a young group of guys trying to figure this thing out. And so he hooked us up pretty much. And so, yeah, it was sort of like very surreal. I feel like even like some of my not the earliest memories, but my earliest memories of like comedy and what it means to be funny are from You So Crazy, And so like to have him there was just sort of like really full circle and kind of crazy and surreal. And he really embodied that part. It was just like, oh yeah, I should have been thinking about him the whole time. I never did, but when yeah, I just didn't want
It's
to. I just
summertime.
go ahead.
I'm saying it's summertime. There's a lot that's out there, outside of movies and theaters. But either way, you've got movies in theaters. You got shows coming up on streaming channels. What's going to get an audience to see this? To tune in and sit there and watch this. We've heard about it, which is great because the
Mhm.
market has been there. Now it's a matter of getting people to be committed.
Yeah, well, I think one, it's free, and so that's always a big hurdle. And it's really kind of easy to access. But I think the characters are what will keep people watching. I hope that they see themselves in the characters or see people that they know, and that they want to see how this story unfolds. I think the surprise of it, I don't think there's um like nothing is typical. And so so I hope that it's surprising, and that is inviting too, to kind of like, you've never seen something like this, or I was so shocked by this, you got to watch it kind of thing.
Now, you shot this a while back. Obviously, it's been some time. It's airing now on Tubi. Should it get good reviews and enough people talk about it, are you and the rest of the cast prepared to come back if Tubi says we want to greenlight a season 2?
I think definitely. I think there's a lot. I had more story to tell then. So yeah, it's definitely more story there. I think it's also changed though in the time since, like, if it had happened immediately, I think I knew where Damascus was going, but now I'm much more open to, like, as I rewatch it myself, I'm like, oh, this could be something, or maybe this is the thread. And so yeah, if you know, universe willing, we get a second season, I'm really gonna surprise folks, because it's surprising me how I'm thinking about it and moving forward with it in my mind.
Before I let you go, what have you learned in the process? Obviously, there's a lot of times to be humbled, to be patient, but as a skill set, whether as a playwright, as a showrunner, but throughout this whole process, what have you learned moving forward to whatever you do next, whether it be a season 2 of this or anything else?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson I learned was um I can only take on projects I love. Like, the amount of work you have to do to create a show is not something you want to do if you're just half in it. And so um I'm only like shopping and taking meetings on things that I love, and I can find my way into it. The other thing I think is that I am more I am a word driven writer. So, like, watching the show back, I'm not regretting like costume choices or location choices. I'm like picking at the words still. And so, like, I think given another process, I'm going to be more uh just put the word on the page, um and set it at a higher priority than I think I did in this process.
Want to congratulate you. Obviously, when it first got noticed, when the word went out that they're not going to air it, you're like, what?
Hmm.
In the last 3 years, we've had shows like that where that was never the case, especially if the episodes are already shot. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like midway things happening, or, you see these stories, but, you were able to, make it happen. Audiences, and like you said, it's on Tubi. A much more audience can see it, bigger audience at that, and obviously folks like Oak and Shakira and Caleb can be noticed for their talent because we've seen them here and there, but this one put them on a bigger stage. And
Hmm.
for you, obviously, I'm sure you'll be talking to other people. We'll hear more of you. We'll talk about you down the road, whatever comes next. So congrats again. Whatever you do, take care. We'll talk down the road.
All right, thanks a lot.